What's going on, everybody? I'm Johnny Brook, and welcome to episode number 37 of the... Hold on. Actually, forgot to start recording that other thing. All right, here we go.
Hey, y'all.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Johnny Brook. Welcome to episode number 37 of the Crafted Podcast all about making stuff by hand, woodworking, metalworking, leather, electronics, and more. We put out new episodes every Thursday on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, pretty much everywhere podcasts are available. And we also live stream every Wednesday night and have just started live streaming on YouTube. So if you want to check us out there, we have a Crafted Podcast channel there on YouTube where we're going to be live streaming. You guys can chat with us, interact with us. It's going to be a ton of fun. So I'll have a link to subscribe to our new channel in the show notes if you want to check that out. The show notes live on our website at craftedpodcast.com. And last, give us a follow on social media at Crafted Podcast. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We love to answer questions from Twitter. If you guys tag us in your Instagram posts, we will repost your listener projects, and that's a great way to connect with us. So let's go ahead and introduce our co-hosts. I've got James Wright from Wood by Wright. What is going on, James?
I've got lots going on right now. Thank you so much for asking.
And I've got Zach Herberholz from GH Fabrications. What is going on, Zach?
Not much. How's it going? Actually, a lot's going on. That's just kind of a canned response.
Yeah, man. Excited to be streaming here on YouTube. This is going to be, I think, a good new spot for us. Obviously, we're all on YouTube already. So, yeah, that's good stuff. See, we already got a couple people in our live chat. Justin from Make Build Modify, who is our top patron of the week. Thank you, Justin. He is always nice and supportive. So good to see some people already hopping on. Again, we'll have a link to our YouTube channel in the show notes, also on all of our social media accounts. If you guys want to get subscribed there and live chat with us every Wednesday night. So I guess let's go ahead and dive into what we've been working on. James, you want to kick us off?
Well, I feel like the bench is becoming my new dresser because I'm working on the bench, and I'm going to be working on the bench for a while.
Yeah,
but it won't take that long. I'll probably have, well, the bench is built and gluing right now. Actually, about an hour or so ago, I did the actual assembly of the bench, so it's
nice.
standing up right now, which is it is incredibly heavy. I'm guessing right now without the vices, it is somewhere around 350.
Jesus.
So it's only 5 foot long, so it's a beast.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah. So once I put the vices on, it will probably be at least 400 pounds.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, the top is just so hefty. I mean, that was I was shocked when I saw like kind of the first video in the series and just how beefy that top is. And I mean, obviously that walnut on the front I think makes it look even beefier, but that thing's looking awesome, man.
Well, there's almost as much material in the legs as there is in the top. I'm like 4 boards short total.
Wow.
So it's a beast, and I mean I'm loving how it's actually coming together because it's kind of one of those things that I haven't seen anyone put Roubeau legs on a Nicholson style skirt. In other words, you have a Nicholson style skirt, but I want the legs to come out flush with the front face.
Yeah.
But still be tenoned up through the top of the bench. So the leg is stepped in that one step sits underneath the skirt, and one step sits underneath the top, and then another step goes all the way up through the bench. So it is going to be extremely sturdy, having that skirt on there as well as having the Roubeau joinery up into the top. I'm loving it. This thing is just, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's exciting stuff. So do you estimate when you're going to be done with it?
Well, I'll probably have the bench up and functioning by this time next week. I'll have probably one of the 3 vices on there. I haven't gotten material for the 2 leg vices. I have a friend who might be giving me a couple chops of cherry, which would be incredible. He's the same guy who gave me the cherry for my the newer leg on my old bench.
Nice.
But I probably wouldn't be getting those until early August, so that could be well. But yeah, other than that, I'm in the middle of redoing my shop. So I got the lumber storage up last week, and now I'm kind of in the middle of building the backdrop for all of this. So I'm hoping that not this next week, but the week after that, I'll have everything set up so I can actually start shooting in the new location. So I'll actually have a studio set up for the woodworking.
Nice.
I think that's another kind of cool benefit for hand tools, because I'm not moving around from item to item to item. Most all of my work is within like a 4-foot square area. I can set up that studio around it, and I can have the lighting all set up and have the camera angle all set up.
Yeah.
So it becomes more of a studio where I do woodworking as opposed to a woodworking shop where I shoot videos.
Yeah, that is hugely advantageous, because just trying to think of
Yeah.
of doing that kind of thing in my shop like makes me want to cry, because the amount of crap I'd have to move around like every time I move from tool to tool would be. Yeah, that's why I've just tried to basically make my entire shop well lit enough to where it'll look fine on camera. And
I mean, I'll have all the LED indirect lighting. I'll have 4 soft boxes. I'll have several standard camera mount locations, and so it'll be set up so I can do some fairly quick video work.
Man,
and, looking forward to that.
That is awesome. That's sweet, man. That is exciting. I kind of want to set that kind of thing up just directly in front of my bench, just so I can do more kind of talking segments there and that kind of thing. It would, I think, enhance the quality, but again, the rest of my shop wouldn't have it. So anyway, yeah.
I can only imagine moving around all the
Dude.
tools, and I mean, you gotta be constantly moving the camera.
Yeah, I don't know how like Mark Spagnuolo does it, because I think he moves around his softbox like for most of his shots, it seems like. So yeah, that's crazy. It
would almost make me want to get a full ceiling mounted camera rig where it can roll and back and forth like John Heiss has.
Yeah, if I didn't have a drop ceiling, I'd be all about that. I'd be like at a 6-foot ceiling, I think, once I added the camera. Then
it'd actually be easy for me. I just have to mount it to my garage door and then just open it. So it'd be really easy to install.
Dude, there you go. There's your slider, man. You don't need to spend $2,000 on a fancy motorized slider. You just mount it to the garage door.
I would never spend $2,000 on a fancy. I would never spend $2,000 on camera equipment.
Yeah, that. I mean, it's good for some people, but to me, anything that I add to my camera rig is to make it more easy to use. I just don't care to get that fancy. But that's just
speaking of that, I actually just went unplugged with my microphone. I feel I got the Rode Link.
Yeah.
It's kind of a microphone that's designed for this work.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more rugged, but it's a nice system and fairly flexible. So
yeah,
I like the way it fits on. It works on top of the camera. It doesn't look like a mic pack up there. It looks like something that was designed to go on top of a DSLR.
Yeah. No, that's the, I guess, the same or similar. Like I have the Sennheiser AVX, and they're both kind of the similar, just pair instantly, kind of designed for one dude standing in front of the camera, and it works really well.
Oh, that, and I can also put I can get multiple mic packs and have them on the one receiver. So I could do interviews.
Yeah, that would be nice. So I was in Nashville last week and kind of ran into that trouble. Brad from Fix This Build That and I did a collaboration, and we got to like filming the intro and outro, and we were like, oh, how are we going to do this? Because we both just had lavalier mics, and it's a pretty echoey, tall ceiling garage. And anyway, so we had to do a bit of a workaround, but we got it to work. We basically just had to each record during each of our intros and outros, and we're using the audio files from each other's videos to like add the other person's audio to our video. So a bit of work, but not that difficult. But I mean, I guess that leads me into what I've been working on. So I've been in Nashville for the past week, visiting a buddy of mine, Grant Batson, who was the guest last week. Also working with Brad from Fix This Build That. So worked in Brad's shop for a couple days. built this kind of scrap wood wall art thing that I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Actually, it's just a hard maple and walnut scraps that I'd kind of had accumulating, and just kind of a like 28 by probably 36 piece of wall art. Really kind of striking, and I'm excited to put that one out. That'll be out in a couple weeks.
I like that kind of strip design is.
Yeah, really simple. Obviously very quick to build. I think I built it in like 4 hours, but I think the result was nice, and it cost me nothing. It was a scrap piece of plywood for the back, and scrap hardwood for the actual art. So that was pretty nice. So that'll be out in a couple weeks. And then with Grant, I worked in his shop on these modern bar stools that I literally put out the video about an hour before we started here. So those, I'm really happy with the way they turned out. I've needed some kind of, they're not really bar stools in our house. We just have kind of a countertop. I don't know what you'd call it, a peninsula. It's not an island. It's like attached to the rest of our countertop, but it just kind of juts out. But it'd be a great place to like sit and eat breakfast, or like while I'm cooking, like my wife could sit there and talk to me.
Yeah.
So that was like something she had been wanting, and thought this was a good opportunity for it. And so used some of that air dried walnut I have, and really happy with the way it came together. It's actually the first chair besides like an Adirondack chair that I've ever actually finished. So I still have those other arts and crafts one in the works, but so really happy with the way that came out. It's always interesting working in other people's shops. So Grant is, he's a pipe maker, and his brother Corey, who he shares like huge shop space with, probably like 80 by 40 shop. His brother's a guitar maker. So their shop is not set up for furniture making at all. It's, guitar making is super, super fine detail, very small pieces, and so is pipe making. So, trying to mill up large pieces of lumber, and it was just, it was very different, but I'm really happy with the way the pieces came out. And, it makes me appreciate my shop, honestly, when I go to other people's shops, because mine is so set up for this type of stuff that I do. So, I think I take my shop for granted sometimes.
I don't know that I've ever been in a shop that I've liked less than my own shop.
Yeah, your shop does seem pretty tight.
I have like right now at this very point, like, can I segue into what I've been doing?
Go for it, man. Yeah, I think I'm done.
So like right now I have work backed up, and I have that desk. I have been at a standstill for like a week and a half right now. I have the pictures on my Instagram. I only have like maybe 3-4 days of work into the whole desk so far. Big days, but I'm like, man, I'm going to have this whole thing done in a week. And it's been sitting with nothing done to it for a week and a half because I'm waiting for materials. I had a tool that was sent to me that I needed to do the top, and it was DOA. When it got to my door, it just didn't work. Brand new tool, open it out of the box, plug it in, nothing.
No fun.
So, which, I mean, that happens. I don't, it's just part of that's going to happen eventually. But so I have to wait for that. And then like I'm ordering up a bunch of ash for the top, and they sent the wrong wood. So I have to wait another 3 days for that. And it's just been like, it's been a week and a half, and I'm like, I can't do any work because I'm out of space. Actually, to close my garage door, I have to flip my welding table upside down and put it on top of the desk I'm building, just so that I can fit everything in my garage to shut the door. And I have another table that I promised I'd get done like within the first 10 days of July, and I can't start on it because I don't have the room. So I'm like, and like every day I can't do any work. I can't, it's a weird conundrum because I'm like, I'm waiting for the materials to finish the desk, and I have a table that I need to build that I can't even start because there's just, I mean, it is, as much as I would like to be able to do work on it, it's just completely impractical with this other build in the shop right now. So it's kind of just giving me a bunch of anxiety because I'm just kind of stuck inside on the computer for a week, and I'm feeling stir crazy. I mean, it's really, it's funny, but it's it's not my favorite thing. But
Yeah.
the good news is it gave me a chance to finally. I had no excuse to sit down and edit the video for the chairs that I finished a month ago. So I put out my first YouTube video in probably almost 2 months. It pretty much is a direct result of me not having any other excuse to not finish the video. Because if I would have had the material to work on the desk, I probably would have been out there and I wouldn't have done any editing. So it's kind of maybe a blessing in disguise. I don't know.
I like all the comments on the video about why didn't you put cushions on it?
Yeah. My comment should be, why didn't you watch the whole video? Yeah. Well, I wanted to showcase my work more than the cushions covering up my work. But yeah, that was a really fun build. The video is actually doing really well, surprisingly. I would have thought YouTube would have forgotten I was even a presence on their platform by now, but it seems to be doing pretty well. So yeah, been kind of just grinding my teeth at that desk, waiting for everything I need to arrive. But I really love how that thing's coming along. I think it's going to be very cool. I got to test out some paint. And I know it sounds terrible, but I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to be like red, like factory red. But
no, I think that'd be cool, dude.
Yeah.
I want it to look like it was like came out of an old underground steam plant or something. Like I want it to look terrible and industrial. It's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to it. This is freaking me out because we have like 2 windows. This isn't if anybody's listening to this post the live recording, we have this is our first time on YouTube. So we have 2 windows and one of them's delayed like 5 or 6 seconds and I keep clicking on the wrong one and it's just freaking me out.
That's why I did the pop out chat thing because I was like, that's gonna bother me.
I did that too,
also
but still
pause
it's
the video.
like one flashes and then the other one flashes and then I move my hand, then it moves again over in the corner. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Kind of that old conundrum of watching yourself on a video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really strange. But like
delayed,
watching yourself delayed is strange.
By the way, our guest Mike is on his way in, so I'm glad we waited up on him. So yeah, we gave him a couple minutes to join in, but we can keep chatting. But just wanted to update you that he will be here soon.
Oh, fantastic! I can finish my rambling. Let's see. New video. I talked about that. Desk. I talked about that. I have a table I have to do after that. I've talked about that a little bit. The really exciting news for me is I am actually going up to New York to hang out with Jimmy DiResta at his place later next week.
That is awesome.
Like 3-4 days or something like that. So that's really, really exciting for me. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So how did that come to happen?
I'm trying to remember. Well, we talked quite a bit when we were in Skiatook, whatever. When we were in Oklahoma, we got to hang out a bit. And we've just been kind of shooting messages back and forth since then. I got a few cameos in one of his blogs that he put out about the event. And actually, I had another funny thing that happened is I had somebody up in New York that said that they watched my floating live edge shelf build video that I did a while back. And they own an art gallery up there in New York. And they said, hey, can you do a really big one for us? That's like, I can't remember how long, but it was like somewhere in the realm of like 18 feet long or something like that. And for their art gallery. And I said, I'd love to do that, but I think finding an 18-foot slab or, 2 matching it, just getting that material in Florida is going to be impossible, overpriced. And then for me to ship it to you would be astronomical. But I have a friend who lives up in New York. Let me give you his contact information. So she got in touch with Jimmy. I haven't heard back whether that's going through or not, but I told him, I said, if it doesn't work out, let me know and I'll see it. Then I'll make them an offer on the build. So Just from communicating via text and stuff, came up, and I said, "Hey man, if you're ever doing anything up in New York," and he said, "I might have some friends up in a couple weeks." I said, "Sure, I'll come." So
That's awesome, man.
yeah,
Sweet.
Mike,
Hey,
what's up?
All right.
sorry for being late. I'm perpetually late.
It's all good, man.
Your mic is a little bit quiet.
Yeah, you might want to bump it a little.
Can you sing
I
for
know.
us until you hit the right level? I don't hear any singing. I think you hit the mute button instead of the up button.
You guys really can't hear me very well?
There we go. There we go.
Hey.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Gotcha.
cool. Awesome.
So we just
Well,
talked
hi,
about
everybody.
we just talked about everything that we've been doing. So
Yeah, man.
Great.
I
So,
think we should introduce him
perfect
first, actually.
segue. Yeah, Mike Montgomery from the Modern Builds YouTube channel. For anybody who doesn't know, he's a lot bigger than all of us, so I assume you know about him. He's also
Like
1/3.
5'11", yeah, 6 foot.
Yeah, that and followers. He's also 1/3 of the Modern Maker podcast. So one
Yeah.
of my favorite podcasts. So yeah, man, welcome to the
Yeah,
show.
third at best.
Yeah, man. So
But
what
yeah.
you been working on?
About a little bit when you were on my podcast, Johnny, but I moved to a new shop here, or a new house with a new shop. So that has been the main focus now for the past week. Building out all tonight, ran electrical for the first time. A lot of fun, and a lot of. I'm not gonna lie, electrical was a little nerve-wracking. It's all outlets and some lighting, but still. There's that like thing in the back of your head where you're like, oh God, I don't want to do something that's going to burn the place down, so, but yeah, setting up the new shop, and I just got done doing a bathroom renovation video, which was pretty exciting. It was my first like non-furniture based build.
Are you guys getting audio breakup on his end?
Yeah.
You are? Damn. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can't
no worries,
close. Let me see if I can just like close everything down that I'm not using, and then
Quit all your torrenting, Mike.
yeah.
What,
Playing World of Warcraft in the background, man. Come on.
Right. All right. Is this happen to be any better? I've
So
closed
far.
everything down. Okay.
Yes,
And then,
it seems slightly better.
okay, cool. So yeah, do you want me to say all that again, just in case if it didn't record right?
Yeah, that'd probably be good. And maybe, okay, now it seems like your audio is a touch loud, so maybe turn it
Okay.
down a touch,
Cool,
and then we'll
'cause-
kick back into it.
It seemed like it was clipping to me.
Yeah.
Cool. Are we good now?
Yes,
Perfect.
I think
Okay.
we're very good. I think when you came in, the problem was like
was
it was
coming in
breaking up. It was breaking up, so we were like, you were adjusting your levels. We are like, we can't hear anything.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, bear with us, audience. We're totally
Yeah,
new
live
platform.
peeps.
That's true. You guys record live on YouTube. Hi, everybody listening. Sorry for my unprofessionalism. All right.
All right. So, Mike, what you been working on this week, man?
This week, I am building out the new shop. It's something I talked to you about on my podcast a couple of weeks when you were a guest, Johnny. But
Yep.
but I moved into a new shop or a new house with a new shop. So the past couple of days, I've been building out the walls, running the electrical, doing all the things that come with that, running lighting and stuff like that. So all pretty cool stuff, pretty nerve-wracking stuff. I'm gonna say the same joke again. I'm sorry. It's one of those things where nothing I'm doing electrically is complicated at all. But then again, it's nothing. I just don't want to set my shop on fire at any point in the next couple of years. So I did plenty of research online and all that, but still something that in the back of your head you still got to be a little bit nervous about on your first time, I think. But aside from that, I put out a couple videos recently on a new DIY LED framed mirror that went into a bathroom remodel that I did the week before. So a couple back-to-back contents in the same area, and neither of them are really furniture related, which is normally what I tend to focus on. But I don't know. I'm just trying to keep things fresh here lately.
Yeah.
I I wouldn't say I got bored of putting out furniture videos every week, but I wanted a little bit of a break from it. You know, I'm working on furniture again, so that's not to say that I don't enjoy it, but it was cool to kind of switch things up, get to do some stuff that was new.
No, dude, I loved the bathroom remodel. I've been on the road. I haven't seen the mirror quite yet, but the bathroom turned out awesome, dude.
Thanks. Yeah, the mirror's not out. It'll be out probably by the time the podcast is out.
Gotcha. Okay, I was like, did I miss that? Because I'm like,
it's the podcasting insider tricks is talk about everything like it's 2 days later.
Yeah, seriously. Well, our delay is pretty short, which
that's true. I forget.
It's new for us. It used to be like 6 days, and now it's like 12 hours. So
you guys
gotta be so nice.
Yeah, it's no more future thinking, because I remember, especially like we used to record like back-to-back episodes sometimes too if we miss like a week or whatever. So we're like, what are we doing 3 weeks from now?
Like, this is what I hope to have done.
Yeah, you guys put out so many videos that like I couldn't even keep it. It's easy for me because I'm like, I think maybe next month I'll have another video out. I don't know.
Yeah, you're on the Salamone schedule.
Your chair's video came out really great. I watched that today. Looks awesome.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I totally heeded your advice and snuck Adirondack into the keywords up top.
Yeah, and I think the whole Adirondack thing goes with the braces going horizontal at the base of the legs. It's kind of got that kind of cutout that seems a little Adirondack a little bit, but that came out really cool.
Definitely not on my radar at all when it came to designing that chair, but when it came to marketing the chair, I'm all about Adirondack chairs now. Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, I don't want to be the guy that derails the conversation all the time. I feel like that's what I am on
We get along great, though.
Yeah. Now we got two guys doing that.
Half our crew now derails us.
But I love on all those walnut slats that slight chamfer you put on each of the slats. It's so subtle, but it looks so cool. I'm doing that on the next table I'm building. I saw you do that, and I'm gonna implement that.
Since we have video.
Oh yeah.
Are people going to be able to, when we actually release it on YouTube, is there going to be video as well?
Yeah,
there is.
Okay, so
you'll be able to watch this for years to come.
Watch myself, like what I do.
Yeah, don't pick your nose.
You have to remind James not to just go crazy on chewing on weird things. But so I have.
This is great for the podcast listeners. Great content here.
Yeah.
Tell me that for the industrial wall sconces, this is the first one I built. Does that not look like plywood?
It does. Almost
it's
exactly.
So tight. Yeah. Is that what you're pointing out?
Separate pieces of pine that are not chamfered.
Oh,
so when you stick wood next to it, if you want it to look like paneling or something or individual boards, you have to do something to break it up. Otherwise, I put this together. I'm like, damn it! I just spent all this time cutting all these boards, and then I glued them together, and it looks like a sheet of plywood.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
I do that anytime I want that look. I have the other one over there, but I don't want to move everything to grab it. But you guys have seen the industrial, the sconce video, right? Well,
I'll
just grab it.
But I think it's funny. I think it's funny that like you watch a video, you watch a 10-minute video, and pretty much the takeaway is like this tiny hint that you see that no one even really points out, really. But it's just like, oh, why am I not doing that? I'm doing that from now on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's why I watch a ridiculous amount of YouTube videos, is because it's just like those little things you pick up is how, like from Jimmy DiResta, I remember one time I noticed he never took his tape measure off of his pocket. Yeah. And so instead of pulling it off his pocket and measuring, he would just pull out the tape from it being on his pants and then measure with that. And so then it just snapped right back to his pants pocket. I'm like, dude, that is like a game-changing move right there. That is seriously, it's amazing. So.
If I talk, it'll bring this up in the big window so that our fans can see. This is. I didn't put the light bulb in this one yet, but
nice.
See the chamfers on there. It actually breaks.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So that's where that one just came about by not doing it once and realizing that I needed to do something to break it up.
Awesome.
Nice. Cool. Well, thanks for being on, man. We've got a lot to talk with you about. I'm excited to kind of because I don't really know your backstory. I don't think. I mean, I've been following you for a while, but I don't really know how you like decided to get into making stuff. I know you kind of started on the audio side, right? You went to school for like music production.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I can give the quick like 18 years of my life story, because I'm 21. I'm relatively young. But yeah. So I was in high school, early high school, even maybe into junior high. I got really interested in music and playing drums first, but that kind of led to being interested in other instruments, but mainly being interested in recording music and producing music. So I pursued that, and that was basically my entire that was my life plan, my life goal throughout high school and going into college. So there's a local music school. It's a pretty large, pretty reputable school called ACM in kind of downtown Oklahoma City. So I went there for about a year, and while I was there, that was where I sort of discovered my passion, or whatever you want to call it, for making things. I started building a lot of guitar pedal boards, amp speaker cabinets. I built a drum set, all kinds of stuff like that, all music related. And through that, I realized that making things is really awesome, and it's a lot of fun. And I also started getting people asking me to build them things that weren't related to music. So it was a lot of people in my school that had bought guitar pedal boards and things like that from me. And eventually one of my friends asked me, he's like, "Hey, I know you make all this stuff. Can you make like a coffee table and a console table too?" And I said, I guess, yeah, I can give it a shot. So I did. I built a couple coffee tables, a couple console tables for other people as well after that. And around the same time period, I realized I didn't want to do music for the next 40 years of my life. At least dealing with music professionally. It was something I realized I really enjoyed, but I didn't want to add like the stress of making it a business to it. As well as YouTube is awesome because I'm doing everything in terms of like the production of my content. I'm not relying on anybody else. And I've had quite a few experiences where musicians are not always super easy to rely on. And and I say that even though I was late to record this podcast.
Well, that's more of a time zone thing than anything, which I can't really fault you for that. I can give you that.
But yeah, so I started building things and realizing I maybe didn't want to do music forever. This was going into my third semester of school, during the third semester. And it was a weird thing. I knew I wanted to do YouTube, and I knew there was, I guess, like money or the ability to have a career in YouTube. This was something that YouTube has been really big basically my whole life, which is kind of different than I think a lot of people in this space. Being as young as I am, I've always seen YouTube, and I've always watched YouTube, and I've always seen people on YouTube as like celebrity types rather than just people making videos. And I don't know what it was, but around that same time period, I saw a lot of people being able to do YouTube professionally, and I said, I want to do that. And given that I didn't want to do music, I was getting really interested in woodworking and making things. It was just the natural approach to film what I'm doing during all of my free time anyways. So I had the film gear, so I just started setting up what I was building, and I don't know, I just kind of started building and gaining an audience, and here we are today. Yeah. It's been about 2 years now. Actually, it'll be 2 years in about 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. It was 1 year for me, like 10 days ago. So
exactly.
That's kind of funny. That's funny. That's awesome, man. Yeah. It's funny because I think I have been watching your stuff since very early. Because I mean, as we talked about in Oklahoma, I remember you doing like the penny skateboard and stuff like that, which was
while I was still in school. Yeah.
Yeah. That was early days.
Johnny, you said 1 year. That's since you went full time.
Since I went full time. Yeah. I mean, I started doing YouTube videos probably about 2 months, 3 months before that. But yeah, one year that I've really been hustling at it for sure.
How long have we been doing our podcast for?
It's episode 37. So whatever that is divided by 4.
Yeah. Time flies, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's my life has never been more like just crazy pace feeling. It's every week just flies by.
That's the crazy thing. A lot of people ask me about, is this your full-time job? And I feel like I'm doing far more than I would in a full-time job.
Yeah.
Because it's flexible
definitely.
and from home, it's just so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, no
It's
question.
weird because I mean, I work more, but it doesn't feel.
Yeah,
I don't want to. I'm reluctant to call it work because it's like what I would be doing if I weren't working. Like if I had a job, I would still do this.
Right. It's not that I feel like I'm working more. It's just that I'm more busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think, when you work for yourself, that every dollar you earn is your own dollars.
Except
that's
40% that you have to pay taxes.
Well, yes, except for all that government nonsense. But besides that, you just pretend that doesn't exist. So one of the dudes in the live chat, Michael, just said we started the podcast September 25th. So that's
nice.
it's been a little bit. So that's awesome.
That was before that was when I was part-time. I didn't go full-time until December.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been a wild ride, man. Been a wild ride. So Mike, obviously you focus on modern design. How did you decide that was your design style, and how did you get into that? What was the process there?
I think it was just what naturally I was interested in. Whenever, for example, the first furniture projects I built, the guy just asked me, "Hey, do you mind if you build a coffee table and a console table?" And I just sat down and I started drawing things. Keep in mind, I was not really building furniture, never really had a ton of interest in furniture. So I didn't really have I didn't know what I was drawing, essentially. I didn't know that I was naturally drawing things that were relatively mid-century influenced.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just what I naturally liked and what I was naturally drawing. And so I built those and people said, wow, those are really cool. And I asked them what they kind of wanted, and they said, well, what you built, Patrick, was really cool. So something kind of like that. So that kind of reinforced the first few furniture projects I built kind of all had that same theme, and it was able to reinforce that to myself. And then once I got actually into YouTube, it was more of a strategic thing to focus on modern design and mid-century design, especially at the time. It's something I've talked about on my podcast, is that whenever I first started doing YouTube, you could find mid-century modern furniture videos, but there weren't anybody that was really focusing on it and doing more than one or two of those types of videos. So it was one of those things that whenever you're trying to establish yourself on YouTube, you need to find some sort of niche or some sort of focus. And I guess my focus, especially towards the beginning, was trying to find how I could make mid-century pieces and make that popular. And it was just a thing I saw through Google Trends. It was something that was getting searched a lot, but there wasn't a high volume for. So supply and demand.
Yeah, no, it's funny because when, obviously that's a style I really kind of lean towards. And when I was starting to try to build stuff on my own, it even, a year ago, there was not that much content, so it was, there was a big room, I think, to grow. Cause I think the natural thing is when people are getting started working, modern is kind of a hard style to get into because it's super clean. It's super detail oriented. If you're building rustic stuff, that's a whole heck of a lot easier. If you're popping some boards off a pallet and, screwing it together, that's a lot simpler than trying to get everything nice and clean and smooth and, square edges and all that stuff. So
I think there's a natural progression of everything. I mean, it's just kind of what people do. The cool thing about the whole pallet wood craze and all of that is it's what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
totally. And that's what I started with.
You're taking garbage and building something useful out of it. Ultimately, that's what you're doing. And you know what? Think about how many people it has brought into our community and has gotten their foot in the door. And then they go, you know what? Wow, I had no idea I could build anything. And they do it out of garbage. And then they go, you know what? I wonder if I could do this. And they just progress and they progress. And, every project, I think that's what keeps it fun is it's like chasing that next high, making it a little bit nicer, trying to, what's next on the agenda.
Yeah,
And it's
no
brought a
doubt.
ton of, yeah.
Yeah, the first pedal board I built was made out of pallet wood, and the handles on it were from old cabinet pulls. And then the very first coffee table I ever built, which was for myself, once again, pallet wood. So it's the perfect place to start because, like you said, it takes away the material intimidation. There's still the intimidation of how am I going to build this, but it takes away the worry of like, oh man, I don't want to ruin this piece of wood. So
Yeah,
definitely.
it's very, it's like the Legos of the. It's just you don't have anything at stake. Like you
Just
screw
your
it up,
time,
you just pull the nails out of
basically.
it or the screws out of it and do it again because there's already it's already.
there's already nail holes, so you don't have to worry.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not a whole lot at stake, and it introduces a whole lot of people into the community, and people progress and they find their niches and their styles, and I don't think a whole lot of people stay. If they really get into building stuff, I feel like the people are going to eventually find their way out of pallet wood and start saying, you know what, I want to build something really nice. I'm going to go buy a chunk of walnut, or whatever it is. There's a natural progression. And I think that evolution is really, I mean, for me, that's the coolest part is like at almost every project of mine, I feel like I'm doing something for the first time, or I'm chasing something that I haven't done before. And it's just like, that's where the satisfaction comes. And that's why it doesn't feel like a job, is because I'm not building the same thing over and over and over again. It's a challenge, and I have to creative problem solving, trying to figure out the drawers that I built on that desk. Like, I'm like, man, how I don't know how to build a metal drawer. So I used the table frame as a press brake, and I clamped a C-channel around it and actually beat the drawer around the frame of the table that the drawer was going in. I mean, like, how awesome is that? It's just, and that's the kind of stuff that we have to figure out. And that, I think for me, that's just so much fun. And watching the evolution of style and what people are drawn to. Like, I know, Johnny, you're big into mid-century modern stuff. I'm really into, like, at heart, and I don't really get to build this stuff for clients, but I think like contemporary furniture is cool. Like really artistic stuff that is like, wow, that's a chair, but it's an upside down chair. Or like, that's weird. That chair has like stuff that you could see in an art gallery. Like, that's weird. The frame is padded, but the seat isn't. Like, what, It's just stuff that kind of makes you wonder. And I think it's really neat to see everybody find their niche and, have at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, Mike, I don't think I realized how young you were until we hung out in Oklahoma. And you're definitely, I think, one of the younger guys in our space, yet you're extremely successful. So, like, what do you think led to that success? I mean, obviously, anybody who's listened to y'all's podcast has heard some of this stuff, but I mean, tell us about some of the things for anybody who is out there who's maybe an aspiring, creator, or even just an aspiring woodworker. What do you think led you down your path?
Yeah. So being 21 is definitely, I think, an advantage, at least in the whole YouTube space, for a couple reasons. But I also don't really play into the, like, I'm young. I know I look probably a couple years older than I am. So I always like play into that. I never played the like, oh, I'm young, watch me make stuff because I'm a kid kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, well, sure, maybe.
Just kidding.
A little bit. No, I mean, I think that is true. I mean, whenever people would reference them a lot when they first got started, whether it was on podcasts or whatever, they got referenced as like
kids.
Oh, a couple of kids, and I didn't want to get referenced as a kid, even though we're almost the same age. I think I'm about a year older than them. But so I knew being young in a way that it would be an advantage to me is I've been interested in watching and thinking about YouTube, doing YouTube for almost my whole life. Back whenever I was like 12 years old, I was really heavy into the like music scene, like the heavy like metal music scene, like metalcore, all that kind of stuff in my like local town. And this was at the same time when bands were on MySpace. They weren't on YouTube. Facebook was like a couple years old, like 50-50 shot they were on Facebook even. And I saw, like, whenever I would listen to new bands before I bought their CD, because people still bought CDs, I would go listen to it on YouTube to make sure it was worth it. And I thought, if I'm doing this, I'm sure plenty of other people are. So granted, don't do this because there's this thing called copyrights. And unless you're 12, you don't get protected from that. But what I would do is I would find like bands that I liked that weren't on YouTube, and I would just put their music on YouTube. And it got really big. I had like songs and albums that would have like hundreds of thousands of plays, without realizing, obviously, that I'm stealing people's content. But in the long term, it was actually a good thing for some people, because I like established this channel by stealing really big like metal artists' music. But then anytime local bands would come through and I liked them, and this is me being like the 12-year-old like music exec. I'm like, yo, man, listen, I've got this YouTube channel and it gets tons of hits. Do you want to be on it? And so they would give me their music, and they would be like so excited about it, to where occasionally when bands would come to town, like they would meet me or they would message me before they came to town so that I would be sure to go to their show. So it was a weird thing. Like as a 12-year-old, I thought I was the stuff, but so that like really fed my like, oh man, YouTube is cool. Granted, I never thought that I actually would pursue it, but I always thought it would be really, really cool to pursue. So to that extent, being young is cool because I've always been aware of YouTube. I had a couple experiences like uploading to YouTube prior to doing this. And so, yeah, I've just always thought about it. And then secondly, I guess it's just good because young people watch me and they can kind of connect to that, I guess, to a degree. You know, it can kind of open doors to, I guess, more of a mass market. Being young, I don't know, maybe it's more relatable.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
So what do you think has contributed towards the growth of your channel? I mean, do you think the type of stuff you're building has been a big part of that?
I think a lot of it is what I'm building. Like I mentioned earlier, the like trying to find a need in the space and then filling that is, I think, a really huge part of it. And then just consistency, I think, is so important when you're a young channel, when you're a small channel. And it comes down to the basics of, if you've got 10 videos, you've got 10 chances for people to find you. If you've got 50 videos, you got 50 chances for people to find you.
Yep.
And obviously that you can go way deeper than that, but you know, at the base of it, that's almost as simple as it gets. And then it gets down to, if I've got 50 videos, then cool, I can have 8 videos about mid-century modern things. I can have 4 coffee table videos, 2 sofas, 3 beds. So now you're filling up search terms more and more. Whereas if you've got a dozen videos, you've got 1 coffee table, 1 bed, and 2 mid-century things. So it's just giving yourself more of a chance. Do what?
You have any love seats?
Do I have any love seats? No, I mean
they're not love seats. You said it right. They're love seats.
Dude, I am making a love seat this month, actually.
A love seat
or next month? Seat? A love seat.
Are you doing the upholstery? Are you doing some kind of leather or what?
I'm doing, so it's going to be a plywood. It's going to be a 2-person sofa, so love seat, I guess.
Yeah.
And all plywood. It's based on this design. I was in Portland, like, I don't know, 2 months ago, I guess, and saw this awesome, they had this store that was all just stuff that was made in Portland, and there was some company out there who just did, I guess, like CNC made furniture. And they had made this love seat with plywood, and, you know, a lot of it was like double layered 3/4 ply, so nice kind of 1.5 thick sidewalls and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I'm going to make this without a CNC and kind of, you know, do my own take on it kind of thing. And so they did the cushions in a really interesting way. They took what I'm assuming was another piece of plywood and then, you know, put a piece of foam on top and then wrapped fabric around underneath the plywood piece and stapled it from the bottom and then attached that to the actual plywood sofa. So like the whole bottom of the sofa wasn't actually covered in fabric or anything like that. Really kind of a cool look. Really clean, you know, kind of modern design. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I guess that's going to be in August, so I guess I got a couple weeks till that comes around. It feels like it's going to be very soon. So
Right.
anyway, yes,
That's awesome. I'm
building
excited to see
a
that.
love seat. Yeah, you've built a couple
I built
sofas,
one.
right, Mike?
Yeah, I built one a while back, and I had the upholstery. Like, I sent that out to get upholstered because it was just, I was relatively new to woodworking. I wasn't gonna try and like overextend myself too much. It was, I think it was honestly the first like big panel glue up that I ever did out of like 2x6s. So I was like, okay, that's gonna be my learning experience. Is to do a big panel glue up. I'll save the upholstery for later, but it's something I want to do again. I want to do a sofa. Because I feel like now I do want to tackle that challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got this spot in my office, like over here, just off of camera, that would be perfect for a sofa. And then like I have like an extra coffee table at my house because I think as a YouTuber, you end up building a lot of coffee tables.
Yeah.
So I've got one more than I actually need. So I'm like, well, I'll create a seating area in my office here, and so I'm gonna make a sofa. So anyway, yeah, that'll be pretty
Is the
fun.
coffee table one that you built like for the channel?
No, it's one I built right before I started the channel. So it was my first like, I don't know if I'd call it fine woodworking. That might be a stretch, but it was a poplar slab with some hairpin legs on it. You know, it was one of those jobs that, you know, pretty easy belt sander and a drill, and I was done.
Yeah.
But it still looks cool. And I filled this big crack down the center with epoxy, and I still dig the look. But, you know, now I have the river table in my den, and that's like when people walk in the house, that's what I want them to see. So that's the piece I'm most proud of. So yeah. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about this mirror. I'm pretty interested. I've seen some smart mirrors or those kind of things. Is it a smart mirror, or is it just kind of a backlit, like when you go to a fancy hotel, like lit around the edges?
So this mirror particularly has been the like epic saga of the podcast because it has been going on for about a month. I've been working on it. It's been insane. So the mirror itself, I saw one in a hotel that I was at, and I said, oh man, I need to make one of these. So picture it's a mirror, and behind it, it's sitting on a light box that's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick, and there's LEDs ran through that light box. So it's about a 3 foot by 5 foot mirror, and there's about a 2-inch border of, so picture this. The center obviously is a big mirror. Then there's about a 2-inch border of etched glass, like frosted glass, and then another 2 inches of mirror. So it's an LED quote unquote frame, although it's not necessarily a frame. It's pretty cool. I've had a lot of issues with actually getting it to work. So essentially I went to a glass shop that's local to me. I said, I need a piece of glass this big, and they asked me what I need it for. So I kind of explained the project, and they're like, oh yeah, someone's come in about a week and a half ago and just ordered one. Because what I'm doing is I'm getting a piece of glass, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Rust-Oleum makes it. It's like mirror in a can, like spray can mirror.
Yep.
And I saw it online somewhere, and then I watched a couple videos of people trying it, and it actually looked really, really, really good. So I thought,
got my Halloween costume for this year.
oh, so I thought maybe, I'm sure there's plenty of people that don't live near a glass shop with the same capabilities that they have, because I actually called around to a couple more once I found out that they could do it, to see, just to like bounce quotes off. And apparently that shop was the only one that knew how to do it. And essentially what they're doing is they get a mirror, flip it backwards, you know, the like, because it's like a silvery like finish on the back of a mirror. Yep. Apparently what they do is they use a sandblaster, and they somehow mask off what obviously needs to stay a mirror, and then they sandblast off that mirror finish, and at the same time it also etches the glass.
Gotcha.
So it's really simple, really easy for them, and it only would have cost me $50 extra to just have them do it. But with all that I said in consideration, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try it. That way, for anybody that doesn't live near a super great glass shop, they can get the same results.
Yeah. Holy
cow, this thing has been a nightmare. To save you guys a lot of heartache, I'm now on my 4th attempt, and I've paid them just to do it. The first one messed up. I had to buy a new piece of glass. So now I'm already spending more than I would have just spent to have the professionals do it. And then with that same piece of glass, I tried 2 more times, which is another like $80 worth of spray mirror and black paint and finish and all this stuff. So it was honestly, I mean, it kind of sucked spending the like extra $300 that I didn't need to, but I learned a really valuable lesson in that sometimes it's just worth letting the quote unquote pros do what they do.
Could you do that? I bet you could do that surfacing with like a CNC.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
Probably. Yeah.
And I'm sure you could even with like a cheap sandblasting.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know how you would contain your like aggregate. But then again, I don't know how they're
you can use it. For sandblasting as a masking, use linoleum.
Really? And that was my big question, is what I would use to mask off.
The professional thing is actually a vinyl. It's like an 1/8-inch thick vinyl that you lick and stick on. But linoleum does basically the exact same thing, as long as you're not
That's
crazy.
I might give that a shot sometime then, because I imagine you can get a pretty cheap sandblaster for.
Yeah, I use the $50 Craig Harbor Freight one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do wooden sandblasting for signs.
Like acid etch it somehow. And
I thought about that too, but I didn't know if I would be able to get a sharp line with it, and I didn't want to ruin another piece of glass.
You just have the whole back like a copper electrode. Acid etch.
That would be
that's why when I did that river table, like they were like, oh, it's only going to cost another $20 to have them cut the glass and like sand all the edges and everything. I'm like, I'm doing that. I am not going to try, because the glass itself was $70. And I was like, okay, either I'm going to go home and ruin this and have to pay another $70. And now I'm like, out way more money than I need to be, or I'm just going to let somebody professional do this for me. And
I should have took that should have been my lesson learned from the video.
Dude, I get so many questions about where to get that dang glass, though. That's like,
dude, I believe it.
It is tiresome, because I mean, I have to imagine that any reasonably sized city. I mean, Asheville is a small town. I mean, we have like 85,000 people here, so not a big town at all. But
you know,
we have a commercial glass shop that can do this kind of stuff. So
I'm sure any metropolitan metroplex will have something somewhere, because someone's got to supply it. You know what I mean? But,
yeah, man, that's funny, dude. Well, I'm excited to see it finished. The bathroom was looking sweet so far.
Thank you. Yeah, and that was really cool, trying something new, and it was really cool that it's had a crazy good reception. I woke up this morning. Last night I was excited because I thought it would pass 100,000 views.
Holy crap!
And I woke up this morning and it almost hit 150,000 by the time I went to sleep and woke up. So I don't know who shared it. I don't know why it's getting the traction it is, but I'm so excited that it is, because
I got a question for you, because those numbers are crazy.
Like, it is.
I mean, just the fact that you're like, I'm usually like, I hope that my videos break 10,000 in a day. I'm like, oh, that's a good start. Mm-hmm. So when you publish something, do you go live in multiple places, or do you just post it to YouTube? And
so I post to YouTube, and then during the same day, I'll make a post for Instagram, and what I try not to do is just post a picture of the project and say, go look at the video. Because if people are already following me on Instagram, they probably are already aware there's a video out. But what I'll do is I'll try, and granted, I don't always do this, is I try and post a detail of something that I think is cool. So for the bathroom, I posted the like wood accent wall and the vanity. That part is what I think is cool, and it was something I talked about on our podcast a couple of times. But if
you post a picture or a little mini video?
Usually a picture. I haven't. That's something we talk about all the time on our podcast, is like recutting your video to a minute for Facebook and for Instagram. Yep. It's not something I've tried, but it's something Ben does, and Ben pulls numbers like no one else.
Oh, yeah.
It's something Chris has tried once or twice now to this point, and he said it kind of worked. It didn't do anything major for him, but it definitely, he could see a little bump. So there's definitely value to it. But yeah, I just try and post like a detail shot of something, whether it's like a cool way these pieces of wood to go together, or, I think the finish came out really particularly well for a project, whatever it is. I try and make it interesting, like the actual Instagram post somewhat interesting as well, rather than just, here's the video, go watch it. And you know what I mean? Instead of just using it as a reference.
Do you do Reddit?
No, I'm scared of Reddit.
As you should be.
They're mean, man.
Chris
They're
is the
super
Reddit
mean.
guy. Apparently, Chris gets to the like front page of the DIY. He gets to the to the r/DIY. He gets to the top of that like it's nobody's business.
DIY automatically, like I get a delete and an insult and like a race. No, I'm white. I'll get like a racial slur somehow.
Really?
Like anytime I post a video there, they absolutely hate me.
And it's a funny thing. So this is something a little insider baseball that like obviously same way I'm sure you guys do, but me, Ben, and Chris kind of have a group chat that we chat with pretty much, if it's not every day, every other day about something.
Yeah.
And Chris had just put a couple pictures that he was thinking about for the thumbnail that he sent to us. He had like 3 or 4, and it was kind of like he had a couple different ones that were the shot of the whole table, a couple that were more of a detail shot, and he was just kind of asking what we thought about each of them. And I said, and there was one, it was a detail shot, but it had some text that was overlaid on it that was really good for kind of reinforcing something that he couldn't put in the title because it would have made it too long. And then he had
That's the goat chair.
I believe it, man. Yeah.
Zach has a chair that sounds just like a goat. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. It sounded like a fart on my end. I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, thank God there's no smell-o-vision.
You guys hear it?
But then he had a second picture that was more of the full project, but it didn't have any overlay. So my recommendation, I was like, yeah, do the one where it's the do the one where it's the full table because it's a cool table, and use the overlay text. And he said, great, love it. That's kind of something that I was thinking too. That was what Ben said as well a couple minutes later. So he's like, great, I'm going to do that. And so he posted the video, and I texted him. I said, where was the text? And he said, oh, I'll put that up tomorrow because I'm posting it to Reddit today. So basically, I asked him about that. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, if you post like a thumbnail that has text on it, you're getting like, you're screwing yourself off the bat because people will apparently just hate you for it.
Yeah, he's the reason I started doing that because it's so true. They, Reddit, their big thing is they are very anti self-promotion. Like
exactly,
it's a big part of their just site policy and all that kind of stuff. And really, what all of us do on Reddit is against their rules.
Like, we are using Reddit. We're corrupting Reddit is what.
But what's so weird about it though is it's like they want content, but they don't want anybody posting their own content. And it's like,
well, they don't want people making money off of it. That's the distinction. Is that we're pros.
It's a double-edged sword for them because it's like that we have content that people like.
Exactly.
We post it, and it's like,
well, what I think
most of my posts that I've had actually go through on DIY are DIY, the ones that haven't been like just deleted, and there's been like maybe 4 or 5, and those have all made it to the front page of Reddit. Like the ones that have stuck there. It's content that is good. It's good information. It brings a lot of traffic to their subreddit. I used to moderate a subreddit. I started a subreddit a long time ago.
Oh, nice.
And it did really well. And it's like anytime we could get our subreddit on the front page of Reddit, I don't care. Like promote us, like get us, that'd be like us turning down a TV sponsorship because it's against our morals. It's like, well, do you want to succeed? Like it's totally against if subreddits had a business model, it would be against the business model to not have content that their subscribers want to watch.
Yeah.
No doubt.
But it'd be okay if I posted Johnny's content there.
That's what I was about to say.
Then they'd be like, oh, that's great. It's not
I think in a perfect world, they want you making your content still, but they just want someone else to recommend it. That's like all it is.
It's just, but it's not, that's not the real world.
No, not I get it. I get it because there are so many people who just spam their stuff out, and even on subreddits that don't have any relation to it. And the other thing is, honestly, the videos I post, like the average DIY, like our DIY browser, they're not going to be able to build it. I mean, like let's be real. Like most people don't have a planer and joiner.
Like what is the demographic of the Reddit DIY?
Dude, I think it's the guy who has a Black & Decker drill, and that's it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm asking because I don't know. This is good information for me.
People who think a circular saw is an expensive extra tool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
People who think that we each have $250,000 in
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
People are out of touch with reality. Like I posted this projector screen I built for the Make channel today, and I literally used a miter saw and a drill. And people were like, "This isn't limited tools." Like I put limited tools in the title. I'm like, it's a miter saw and a drill.
Right.
Like, yeah, I have a nice miter saw and a nice drill, but that doesn't mean you couldn't build it with a crappy miter saw and a crappy
Check
drill.
this out.
Very true.
You guys see this little pallet thing made out of popsicle sticks?
Yeah.
One of my early videos, I made pallet wood coasters out of popsicle sticks.
And that did
for
best
like
on
1 split second, I used scroll saw. And I said, you could use scissors. And I had people saying, well, I could build that too if I had $5,000. There's comments. If you feel like digging through, there's people that commented on my video about making a project out of popsicle sticks that anybody could do it if they had $5,000 worth of tools.
That's interesting. So is that across the board with Reddit? So I know DIY is like the crown jewel of getting on a subreddit, but so what are some other subreddits that you guys?
I mean, woodworking.
Woodworking is a pretty good one.
Okay,
but
I guess this is good for the listener too that's uninformed about Reddit. Like if you want to go to Reddit, where do you even start?
I mean, I subscribe to woodworking
hand tools.
And hand tools.
Yeah.
If you're into that kind of thing, artisan videos is
that one's good. I like. Then there's a how-to that can be good. They're nice to me. And then also they're not nice to some people. It's totally random. Like William Walker, who I think has like his video, like the quality of his work, his videos are so great. And he was asking me about Reddit one day. I'm like, yeah, man, you got to get on there. Like, go to our how-to. They're really nice. They love everything I do. He posts there and instantly got banned.
No.
And his stuff is so like his production is so much better than mine. It's just
that's funny. Do you think that's kind of why maybe is they like people saw that
too professional?
Exactly. They saw him posting this ultra clean video and they're like, who is this guy? Get out of here.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just they're scared of letting what happened to Pinterest happen to Reddit.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Reddit is, it's an interesting community. It's, I think, a lot of younger users who are very anti, popular society kind of stuff. And I mean, I've been on Reddit for probably 8 years and, I get where they're coming from, but as somebody who does what we do, it's very difficult, and you get, I mean, I think even if I use a thumbnail that's just a picture, the second they start my video, they know that I'm not some random dude with his iPhone in his garage, like I have a produced intro and you know what I mean? It's like, it's obvious when we are doing what we're doing. So,
exactly.
Yeah, it's Reddit's a whole can of worms, but
anyway, the potential there, if you have something that's
it's huge
on Reddit, it's like, honestly, it's like going into a casino and like dropping a quarter in the slot machine and pulling it.
Actually,
like it's either going to come up with 3 middle fingers or you're going to hit the jackpot.
That's funny. Yeah, because I thought about posting that bathroom remodel that I just did on, because I'm sure there's like an r/ like home improvement or r/ renovations or something.
There is. And
so
it would probably do really well.
And I thought it would do really well, but it was just one of those things. Like the last thing I want to do is like make an ass out of myself or bleep.
Yeah,
look really bad. So I don't know.
Well, I think the other key to Reddit is being involved when you're not posting your own stuff. Like I'm on Reddit not all day, but I'm on Reddit a lot throughout the day and throughout the week because that's how I consume a lot of my content. I subscribe to a lot of subreddits for topics that I'm interested in, not just making stuff. And, it's replaced the forums of, 5 years ago, basically for me. It is the new forum. And because it's one website that covers every topic, which is really unique. Like I used to be, on 20 different forums every day, and now I'm on Reddit. And they have a good mobile app, and it's all good. So with the good comes the bad, and Reddit's a tough nut to crack, and you got to have some thick skin to post there. But yeah, the upside potential is crazy.
Right on.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah. All right, we're running a little long, so let's close up. Mike, what what do you think? Like, I want to know, what are your goals for the next, like, I don't know, 6 months, a year, whatever. I know I heard Chris talking about like what his goals are by the time he's 40. So
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
Chris is thinking long term at this
he's
point.
a little bit of a long-term thinker. What do you think? I mean, obviously you've come a long way in a short amount of time. What are you looking to do in the next, whatever?
So I think the way you broke it down is perfect. So about 6-month goal is continue to, because I think one thing about being young is that I don't necessarily have a family to support or like take away time from. So the goal is pump out crap loads of content and then just keep saving money as much as I can, the way I have been, to where I can buy and flip a house. So
nice.
This whole 6-month plan was dependent on whether or not people received this video that I put out as, positive, and they did, thank goodness. So I'm going to be doing renovation videos every other month up until that point. Hopefully it'll be about 4 months. Maybe it'll be a little longer. Maybe it'll be a little bit shorter. And I want to turn that into a quote unquote series, to where it's, for instance, about an 8-episode series about buying and flipping a house. The first episode being finding the house and, shopping around, talking about budget, talking about all that kind of stuff. And then obviously like initial plans for the renovation. And then each quote unquote episode, which would be about 10-15 minutes, would be a room kind of similar to what I'm doing. It would be cut a little bit differently depending on what platform it goes to. And then obviously like the closing episode where I sell the house, hopefully, and then talk about, either I made this much money, I broke even, or unfortunately I lost a little bit of money, but I learned a lot of lessons on the way. And so that's kind of the goal going into.
Hopefully not. I lost a lot of money and learned nothing.
Right.
Hey man, that would be a super clickbaity title though. You crush it.
Bought a house and tried to flip it, lost everything.
Went bankrupt.
Yeah. Now homeless. No. So that's the short-term, long-term goal, is build up to doing that. I don't know if that's going to live on YouTube, on my channel. I don't know if that's going to be something that I'll try and shop to, who knows, YouTube Red, Netflix.
Nice.
It's just a thing. I don't know. I'm basically using the bathroom videos and the videos that I'll be making for the next few months is like kind of the same way TV shows make pilots, is figure out what works for format, what works for
something that would be cool too is you could have like, I'd totally be willing to like hang out for a few days.
Oh,
and help
absolutely.
You with, like,
you
get some
killer collabs,
some other YouTubers, some collab videos.
So yeah, and then if we could figure out some way to like, obviously there's people that understand construction better than I do and remodel it better than I do, and then there's also the like, let's build furniture to stage the house. And then once the house is staged, then you got to do something with the furniture. But that could also be an opportunity, because I mean, that's what I'm doing with the rooms right now. Is the bathroom I'm getting the mirror out of, but the next room I'm doing is going to be a bedroom, the spare bedroom. So I'm going to be getting, a bed video out of it, a nightstand video, probably a closet like organization system type video. So there'll still be those like chances to get a lot of furniture projects in the process. So it should be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's short-term, long-term kind of combined, and finding some sort of house flipping series and become the Property Brothers of YouTube. Because there's no one doing it, man.
For some reason, those guys annoy the crap out of me. I don't know what it is.
I mean, but they're everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
They are
everywhere.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe it's nothing beyond the fact that they're everywhere all the time. Like, do you remember when the History Channel?
Oh yeah.
Like had stuff to do with history? Like,
yeah, and it wasn't Pawn Stars.
Yeah. Now it's like it's all
American Pickers.
TV.
Yeah, exactly.
And I still, just out of habit, because like I guess I can say I'm old because I'm like 30 something now, but like, I still, like, out of habit, I'm like, oh, what's on the History Channel?
Right.
Do you still have cable?
Yeah, that's how old I am.
But it's so true, and I think this is like the perfect. What do you even describe it as? Like, this is the perfect way to describe the like fall of television that is starting to happen and will happen in 5 years.
Well, what's crazy is like, do people really want? I mean, apparently people want to watch reality TV.
I mean, I think people, I think there are people that want to, but then it's like everything in every niche said, oh man, reality TV is doing so good. Do you watch Big Brother? Do you watch The Bachelor? We need to figure out how to do that. But I think that's what it is TV just latches onto an idea and they lose all their originality. I mean, you look at Pawn Stars got popular, then how many more pawn related shows came about? Storage Wars, same type of thing. Like the first couple of seasons of Storage Wars was cool.
I mean, that was on today. I turned it on. It was like, I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
That's a show? Somebody decided that, like, there was a table, at some point there was a table of executives and they're just sitting there like twiddling their thumbs in silence, trying to think of ideas. And some guy just said, us road truckers.
Hey, listen, you can say that, but I think that's one of the like longest running shows on TV.
Let's have a show about people driving trucks. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get it, but I think that show's on like it's like I don't know what it actually is, but it's probably on its like 15th or 20th season at this point. So
that's nuts.
Crazy. But I think what I guess I don't even remember what my original point was, but I think it's just like the same way
YouTube killed the TV star.
Yeah, exactly. But like the same way whenever I was starting, I saw that there was a market for mid-century furniture projects and not a lot of people making it. There's obviously a huge market for HGTV DIY type content, but it's not there on YouTube in like a quality sense. So hopefully I can be the guy that like ushers that in maybe. Who knows?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna go renovate my bathroom right now. So
do it, man. Do it.
No, it actually was like in truth, like actually pretty inspiring because like it's our house is a newer house and everything is clean and nice enough, but it's like builder's grade kind of stuff. Like nothing is exciting or interesting. Everything is just kind of plain. Nothing fits my style. So. Seeing you rip that stuff apart, man, that was like, I could do that.
That bathroom, it was ugly before I started, and no, I'm not.
Dude, it looks nice now.
But I think it looks good now. Like it's like what I would consider a nice looking bathroom. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool. The fact that I did it all under $500 too, not counting the mirror,
crazy.
Obviously.
So
counting
you got to do a penny floor and subway tile bathroom, and
exactly. And that's
pretty
like,
much.
And it's one of those things. Like if I had the money to like retile the bathroom, I would have done it. But I was really latched onto this idea of like renovating a room for under a certain amount of dollars, and I was like 500. That'll be it. That's a good searchable term. So
you should just renovate the whole house with pallet wood.
For free.
It would be the ugliest house ever.
Like, one of the pallets has bugs.
And then like 5-10 years from now, Property Brothers would come in there and it'd be like, oh my God, do you remember this era of pallet wood everything?
Exactly. That's totally gonna happen. 5 years ago, everyone was like, man, I love it. We're gonna do pallet accent walls everywhere. But in 10 years, that's gonna be like, the same way I did this like wood slat back, instead of doing backsplash, I did a wood panel wall behind the sinks and mirror. I know that's going to be outdated or like cliche at some point, but right now it looks cool and that's what people want to see. So
to give you an idea of how behind the times pallet wood walls are, I'm actually about to do a pallet wood wall for my backdrop for my hand tool.
Wow.
See, but that's perfect.
Hand tools are now old school.
It's still
1800s.
It's pallet chic. I'm waiting for some like fashion accessories now.
Pallet wood old school.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's like, do you remember in like I think like the 90s when everything was like that golden oak? Like everything.
Yeah. That is why I hate oak. That single-handedly 100%. Why I do not like oak.
Exactly. I can't associate red oak with any. Like I love white oak. White oak is beautiful. Yep. It's got a great grain, but red oak, I just associate it with like golden oak cabinets.
Yes.
Can't do it.
Horrible, ugly paneling.
That was ruined. Like that. Like people within that decade, we will just never have any appreciation for golden oak.
But in 10 years, people are going to start using it again tastefully.
Yeah.
People are using it now tastefully, but like that'll hit the mainstream as like everyone wants oak cabinets again. But it won't be golden oak. It'll be something more tasteful.
No.
I wonder when shag carpeting is coming back.
Man, who knows?
Man, never for me. Anybody with pets, I don't know how they ever had shag carpeting. That just seems like a recipe for just horror. It's no good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's close this thing out, Johnny.
Yes. We're running way long. So I guess let's talk about what we've been watching. Mike, you're the guest, so you got something that you've been, it's kind of similar to what you guys do with what you've been obsessed with, but what you've been watching, what you've been reading, listening to. It can be any of those things.
Yeah. So I recently, and I'm not trying to integrate a sponsor into the podcast here, but I had a video sponsored by Audible, and I started listening to Audible a couple months because they were interested in sponsoring a video, and it was something I was never interested in. I hadn't even really listened to podcasts except for the past about year and a half now. So it seems like podcasts are like the entryway into maybe audiobooks. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But I started listening and I've started listening to quite a few audiobooks now. But I listened to Astrophysics for People in a Hurry.
Yeah,
by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
And granted, I know for like I'm Christian as well, but for a lot of Christians, I know that's like a touchy subject, and I can understand why. But it was a really interesting book. Obviously, if you want to disagree with certain things, you can disagree with certain things. But what I really love is like the tone of the book is very non-confrontational. They're not trying to push any sort of like quote unquote agenda on you, if you want to say that. It's very just like, this is what science understands. This is what science doesn't understand. Now you're informed. And I think that's the biggest part is like for anyone arguing in any direction is like a lot of people in science are uninformed about Christianity. A lot of people in a lot of like super evangelistic Christians don't really understand the concept science is even talking about. They're just saying like, oh, you're saying it's not God, it can't be true. Who knows? Maybe it's a little bit of both. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, if you're interested in audiobooks, they're cool. Even if you're not interested in audiobooks, I'd say check one out because I mean you're listening to a podcast, so
yeah, they're outstanding.
They're great because you can listen to basically an audiobook can kind of span your day instead of like trying to listen to like multiple podcasts or like being like, man, I've already listened to like 5 albums today. What else am I going to listen to? So yeah, I found they're really cool for the shop. So, and I think that's if you're interested in that at all, check that out.
Yeah, no, I would recommend every Stephen King book ever on Audible because, obviously any book he writes for the most part is going to sell well. So I used to have a really long commute, probably an hour plus each way every day. And so I would go through audiobooks like it was like just going out of style. It was crazy. So I would just go on Audible and sort by like the longest books there were. And it's like number 1 is like the Bible at like 120 hours, and I'm like, I don't know if I can commit to that. And then it's like Atlas Shrugged, and then it's basically Stephen King books after that. So I got totally hooked on Stephen King. I hate horror stuff. Like I am not. I get scared way too easy for horror stuff. So like I always wrote off Stephen King as this like horror dude. But he's got
is it more suspense than horror though?
Totally suspense, and he has a lot of really like sci-fi kind of supernatural stuff too. Like pretty much all of his books have some sort of weird like supernatural.
Have you ever read Michael Crichton before?
Oh yeah, he's awesome too.
Right. Yeah, my dad was a big Stephen King guy. Like growing up, there was always Stephen King books laying around, but they were also 3 inches thick, so I wouldn't like dare to pick it up.
That's why I loved him because it's like the most efficient use of my Audible credit was like this 45-hour long, Stephen King book. So
yeah, you're getting the most minutes for your money there.
Totally. Yeah, The Stand, man. That book. That's yeah.
Dude, I can't get that bad guy. Anytime I think of The Stand, I think of that like almost Mel Gibson looking bad guy and the terrible CGI in the movie. It was a great movie, but like what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. That movie was so bad compared to the book.
Yeah. The movie I'm sure ruined the book for me. I haven't read the book, but I just can't shake I can't shake the villain from my mind.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
James, what are you watching? What's your new thing?
I was actually just watching this video by a guy who I really think is going to be like the next DiResta. He's doing some really sweet stuff. It's a ZH Fabrication. He doesn't put out videos very often, but when he does, they're putting up video.
That's hilarious.
Once a year.
I really loved it because he put out the chair video today.
I really liked the edit on that as well. Like it was all around. It was really good. Like we had chatted before about like maybe doing voiceover for your videos. I still think voiceover is cool, but if you don't want to do it, I think the way you did this video is the perfect because it gives you enough information to where for someone like me that doesn't know metal, now I know what you're using, I know the basic steps you're taking. So yeah, great edit.
Thanks.
Cool video.
Yeah, I was watching your videos and I'm like, man, but you're like enthusiastic and interesting. And like when I talk, I feel like I'm droopy. Like I don't even like listening to myself talk.
I hate
like
hearing
the one time I talked in a video when we did the collaboration.
Yeah.
I hated it so much that I sped it up to like 200%. So I sounded like Mickey Mouse because I'm like, man, I am boring. Like I don't want to listen to myself.
See, and I don't
know. It's just,
and I think everyone has like a negative perception of themselves talking. And obviously you kind of podcasting helps, but like doing it more and more makes you more comfortable and you get better at speaking. But yeah, whenever I listen to myself, especially a year or two ago, I was like, dang, is all I do yell and like just like talk fast? So it's something that I had to work with. Anytime I got into a mic, it was like, hello, hi, yeah, okay, we're gonna be cutting everything to length now, and it was pretty bad. So it was something I worked on. You know, it was like I still want the energy that I was talking with, but maybe at a more reasonable volume. So
Yeah.
And at a reasonable speed. So
Yeah.
everything comes with practice.
I think everybody has to put on a little bit of like a amp up your normal like even keel voice for your moments on camera, because I mean the thing is anybody who does voiceover, especially, we're on camera for maybe like 2 minutes. It's not like you have to like walk around all day like that. It's pretty quick. So
I'm kind of known though for the quiet melodic put yourself to sleep.
Oh yes,
no, exactly. It works perfect.
Your voice matches your content perfectly.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Zach,
what about you, man? Close us out, man. We're not even going to do tool of the week this week because we're at like an hour and 30 minutes long.
I'm gonna squeeze it in. You're not even gonna feel it.
Are you reading that book still?
Yeah, no design book. That's all.
No, I'm still reading that, but I can't mention that.
Banished.
So good. You guys even got a peek at it when we went to Oklahoma. It's a great book. No, I actually just started listening to the Made for Profit. Podcast with
really good
John Malecki and
Brad.
Yeah.
I
haven't listened to it yet, but
I just started. I'm like halfway through the first one, and I had to do it to do this podcast. I had to leave it, but I was like, I'm really intrigued. I'm just trying to figure out. I don't want to get into a long-winded conversation, but yeah, I mean, I don't put out a ton of content, so I'm trying to figure out how to maximize
what you do put out.
What I do.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check it out. Yeah. I've heard it around like multiple places. Like I know they talked about it on Wood Talk as well. So
yeah, I think they are gonna really
blow up
places because I mean those two guys, they are on the strategy side in a way that I think most of us in this space are not. I would say Ben is probably an exception to that. He is the social media kingpin.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like anybody who has their own Wikipedia page has made like that's one of my goals in life is like someday I just want a Wikipedia page. That's
hilarious. Can I ask a quick question? Sorry, listeners, if we're going longer than normal.
Oh, it's fine.
They can always stop listening. So don't.
Yeah, that's all
true.
free.
You can always turn it off. We got the download stat.
Yeah, exactly.
So my question is, John Malecki. I've seen his videos. I found him probably 2 months ago. I was researching breadboard ends. Is John Malecki is he mainly an Instagrammer? Is he a YouTuber?
Instagram mostly. Like that's his big platform. And
that's
then
what I thought.
Yeah,
and he's building a YouTube channel.
Yeah, he went to Next Up this year, the YouTube Next Up thing, and
Nice.
So he is definitely working on building his channel. I don't know if you've watched his stuff recently. He's been doing more like daily content, which is obviously favors the YouTube algorithm. And I think his idea is to do daily like vlog style stuff, and then have a project video at the end of that, which I think is an interesting strategy.
It kind of fills both niches.
It does.
Like for people that are just searching for projects, they can find them. But for people that want to stick around and like watch daily, he's there.
Yeah, the only thing I think that could backfire for that is like I do not like daily vlog stuff. So like I'm staying subscribed to him because I'm John's friend. But if I did not know him, I would probably not be subscribed because I don't want people in my feed every day.
Exactly. And I don't know if John is listening. So I'm going to preface it by saying, love the content. I was I'm going to be building a reclaim table here shortly, so I've been watching a lot of his videos. But yeah, I can agree. I don't love the daily.
I don't know.
It's just it's not my thing.
No, it's not.
I feel like
but my thing is, if it works for somebody, obviously do it. Like, screw me, screw the naysayer. Like, do what's working for you and what you like. But I don't know.
I feel like, honestly, like it always comes back to the same issue of like, do what you feel like you should be doing. Like, do what you want to do.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like with the YouTube, it's like there's so many. Every week, somebody's like, no, the algorithm is long videos. No, it's short. No, it's watch time. No, it's how many shares you get. No, it's how many likes. And it's like, nobody knows. Like, just stop beating yourself up over trying to please the YouTube gods and just try and have fun doing it.
My mantra is there's an ass for every seat. So whatever you do, there will be people who like that. And if you keep doing it consistently, you will build a following large enough to be able to sustain yourself. And so, like, even though I use fancy tools that are inaccessible to a lot of people, I still have a lot of fun doing it and try to, like, still present the content in a way that anybody could build this stuff. And, you know, my stuff is growing. So, you know, traditionally, like, I think most people would have been like, no, man, should use a circular saw and a drill. You'll be a lot better off. And I probably would have been, but I wouldn't have liked that. Like, I
remember watching. I
would have hated it.
Before I started really doing this, I'd watch Jimmy DiResta videos just to understand what was happening. I'm like, oh, I didn't have anything for tools. I mean, I had like your basic, you know, what your girlfriend has under the kitchen's cabinet. Like, that's what I had for tools. And I mean, I was familiar with most of them, but I didn't have a garage. I didn't have any tools. And I just watch his videos and learn and understand how things went together, how things are built. And to me, that's what it's about. It's understanding how to do it, not how to have all the tools in the world.
Exactly. And I think that gets lost so much.
You know, there's always a way around it. Like, I tell people, I get one of the most common questions I get asked is, how do I get started in metal fabrication? You have so much tools and stuff to do metal work. Like, get a welder and an angle grinder. You can do anything with it. It's not
straight up. Spend $250 and you're good. So
you can't do it as efficient as I do them with all of my tools, but you can do it.
Exactly.
Like, you know, there's if you have a will, there's a way. But for my tool of the week, the prep and weapon sanding block, it's awesome. See?
Oh, I'm going to do my tool of the week. I was going to interrupt, but since I'm here, I won't be here next week.
This is going to be the 2-hour show. All right, let's keep it rolling, y'all.
Okay. Let's go. So my tool of the week is, I don't know who makes it. I literally just found it laying around, but it's just a multi-tool, like like you open it up, like kind of like a Leatherman. Like, you open it up, it's got pliers. It also has screwdrivers and everything.
Is it a bike tool? Like a bike tool?
No, it's like a Leatherman you would keep in your pocket. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's like you open it up, it's got screwdriver, wine bottle or wine corker, bottle opener, pliers in the middle, all that kind of stuff. I'll shoot you a link to the one that is similar to the one I use. But doing all this wiring, it is perfect. Oh, yeah. I can use it to cut the wire, strip the wire, use the pliers to bend it into place, then use the screwdriver to screw in the outlet to the receptacle. It's like, it's the perfect thing for doing electrical work. Or at least for just having one tool to be able to just do everything. So that's my tool of the week. And I had never used one really prior to that. So it's kind of got me contemplating, like, ooh, should I have one as my everyday carry? Replace the pocket knife with a Leatherman, like a nice multi-tool. I don't know.
Speaking of everyday carry, you still got my keychain?
Dang right.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
Nice. Well, I guess, James, I see you have a tool of the week. Let's go ahead and finish this bad boy if we're going to do it.
A wooden mallet made from firewood, just a traditional joiner's mallet. It's a fantastic thing for when you really get angry and you can smack on that tenon until it goes into place.
I remember that video.
Nice.
Can I ask you a question, James, real quick? I'm sorry that I'm making this go long, but it's like
it's okay. You're good, man. Don't even worry about it.
Okay, cool.
You know what?
One of those things, like when you've got the guy that knows, you might as well ask him the question while you can. So I've had the idea, and granted, this could just very well be a thing. I make a lot of things from like 2x, like from Home Depot, like Douglas fir. Is there any like value in building a softwood mallet so that if I want to hit some pieces, like if I'm making a panel and I want to hit a couple of the 2x6s into place, I'm not using a piece of walnut or a piece of oak that's going to dent it all up?
Yeah, you're not. Yeah,
obviously,
I have a softwood mallet for joinery things that I want to put together a little easier.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, for a joiner's mallet, it's not going to last you as long, but oh well, you can make another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to like make one and then have people calling me an idiot for it.
Yeah,
so-
whenever I'm doing joinery, the last thing I always use a mallet that is softer
Than the wood.
than the wood, so you're denting the mallet as opposed to the wood.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, very cool. Johnny,
Nice.
what's your tool?
My tool of the week. I haven't even turned it on yet, but it's right to my left here. You might be able to see the corner of it. It's the Muse hobby laser from Full Spectrum. It's like
Oh,
their
you got
answer
one.
to the Glowforge. Yeah, so
Wow.
I'm pretty pumped up on it. I'm very excited to just see how a laser is another kind of, addition to my making kind of, realm.
I was about
So-
to say, how does that incorporate? Are you thinking of like how to use laser in big projects or how to do laser projects?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I mean, like the one thing, like I know Ben has done some laser cut leather, and that really excites
Really
me.
cool. Yeah.
Evidently it stinks terribly, but it looks really cool. But then also like little small merchandise type items for like my Patreon and stuff, like some sweet crafted coasters and stuff like that. I mean,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's great for making any sort of little merchandise kind of thing because
That's
it'll
really
cut like
smart.
1/4 inch plywood. But I don't know. There's so many things, like laser cutters have their own like joinery systems that you can implement with all these tabs. Like if any of you guys watch William Osmond, I know Zach introduced us to him, and we were all huge fans of his. And watching him do laser cut stuff is totally kind of piqued my interest. And I think
Make your own
especially like
ham.
with
You make your own Vin Diesel ham bust.
yeah, my Vin Diesel ham and cheese bust. I mean, there's just so many cool things. Like I think, especially like in the kids realm, like all kinds of cool toys and like dinosaur skeletons and all this crazy stuff you can do with those types of precision cuts that you couldn't really do. I mean, you could do it on a scroll saw, I guess, but it'd take you all day. But anyway, laser cutter. Pretty stoked on that. I'm having like a 1-year anniversary of me starting like going full time party this weekend, and we're doing a build off event. Nobody, I guess, who is attending knows this yet, but it's just like my family basically. And so I'm giving them each like a 1x6x8, and everybody has to build a birdhouse, and they have like an hour to build it. And so there, I'm going to do some like laser cut metals with my face on it, and that'll that'll just be fun, and it's something I can do. So it's kind of cool.
That's
So,
exciting, man.
yeah, it'll be sweet. So, all right. Well, man, that was a good one. Let's,
Yeah.
I guess, wrap it up. So you plug whatever you want to plug. Obviously,
Okay.
your own stuff, but the podcast and whatever.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start by plugging the podcast since we're on a podcast. I'm listening to people I know listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
If you guys are interested in wood talk, obviously crafted, making it especially, I would say more making it than wood talk, the vein we're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we focus on design, focus on more like YouTube and our lives. We just tend to like have a really loose topic and then just go where it takes us. We try and keep it less structured than we did when we started. We started with a lot of structure, and we're kind of slowly letting that just devolve into like what it naturally wants to be. So yeah, go listen to the Modern Maker podcast. We're everywhere. If you want to follow us on Instagram, that is at Modern Maker Podcast. And then if you're interested in YouTube videos, my channel is Modern Builds. And if you wanna watch that bathroom remodel we've been talking about, go for it. I'm looking for some more stats on that. And then if you want a video that's just kind of like all encompassing on what I tend to do, just go back a couple months, whether it's the bed with storage I made or a desk I made, whatever you want. Just find a thumbnail that speaks to you and check it out.
Yeah.
And then just thank you guys. I appreciate it. I've been listening since the first episode, so big
That's
fan.
awesome.
You guys are killing it. Y'all are, probably top. Top 5. I don't have a list, but y'all are top 5. I listen to Crafted. I listen to Wood Talk. I listen to Making It. I listen to us when I edit it, and And yeah, so you guys are really killing it. Y'all have a great dynamic. So keep it up.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, and thanks to everybody who's been listening. Also, big thanks to our Patreon supporters. You guys are amazing. Again, our top Patreon supporter this week is Make Build Modify. We also have a new patron this week, Richard Johnson. So if you guys want to go check that out, it's patreon.com/craftedpodcast. Again, leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes if you enjoyed the show. That's super, super helpful. And give us a follow on social media. I think we're going to try to make our social media a little more active here in the coming months. And I think that's a fun way to kind of interact with the audience. So
yeah, it's a really cool way. Sorry, it's a really cool.
Go ahead.
No, the Instagram thing is because it was something that we started, and it was something that
you guys are killing it.
It wasn't something I was against, but it was something that I was like, I don't know if it's the best idea. It's the best idea. Because it's like a living, breathing show notes to where people can comment really fast. They can see the things we talked about really quick. It's a cool like reference space. Plus, they can just DM us questions, and it's all really there, really concentrated.
For sure. Cool. All right. Well, thanks to everybody for listening. Again, we're going to be live streaming on YouTube from here on out, so we'll have a link to that in the show notes. And until next week, happy building.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Cool.
All right. We off there, James?